When is Skynet?
I don't know.
Does Charlie know?
Always 9 p.m. Saturday on 146.88. Duh.
Virginia in D5S, and we will be starting Skynet in about 3 minutes. So if you need to use the repeater for anything else before that, please do so now. This is D5S. W5FC. Afterglow Net, Saturday, 10:30 p.m., W5FC.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Good evening. The time is 9 p.m.
Good evening. This is ND5S. My name is Virginia, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority traffic or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign break break and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from the net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmission. This weekly net operates on 146.88 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio and video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list. Remember to tell others about this popular net. You can now check into the net electronically by going to the club website, w5fc.org. Look for tonight's announcement and click on the hot link to check in. We will acknowledge you on the air, and don't worry, if you want to check in via voice, we will continue to do that too, over the air or on Echolink. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate in Skynet. This net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts, including general announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, National Space Society events, recent astronomical discoveries, discussion topic of the evening, what's up, space exploration and space history, constellation of the week, and space launches of the week, also visible satellite passages over the next few days, astronomical Q&A if there's time, and the 73 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. And we currently have the following people checked in via the website. That would be K5MCD, Cody in Dallas, KE5ICX, Tom in Corpus Christi, W5BLT, Bill in Garland, K5JDW, John in Coppell, KF5JHA, Chaz and Bob the Cat in the Milky Way Galaxy, the solar system, WB5OZL, Brenda in Dallas, KI5BGM, Travis in McKinney, N5BB, Bill, Byram in Irving. So, let's see. Now let's start with voice check-ins, starting with short time check-ins. If you are a short time check-in, please come now to check into Skynet. Okay, nothing heard for short time check-ins. So let's go to round two. This is general check-ins. Same request. We would like to have your name, your call sign phonetically, your name, and your location where you are checking in from. Please come now. Okay, we had a lot of people on the online check-in. Let me check that again and make sure to see if anybody else says. Okay, yes, we've had a few more. We have KE0MXN, Jace from Dallas. We have KE5JIT, Randy from Corpus Christi. Good to see you, Randy. AG9SG, Antonio from Oak Cliff. Now let's take any Echolink check-in. Please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location on Echolink if you'd like to check in from there.
Kilo Golf 5, Bravo Zulu Whiskey J, near Weatherford.
Okay, I got K5BZWJ near Weatherford. Thanks for checking in via Echolink. There's a few other Echolinkers, but I think they're all dupes from the spreadsheet too. So quiet night. There must be some big college football game on or something. So let's see. Open round now. Any and all kinds of check-ins. If you would like to check into Skynet before we get going, one more chance. Come now with your call sign phonetically, your name, and your location.
Whiskey, Bravo, 4, Mike, Foxtrot, India, WB4MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power.
Kilo, Foxtrot 5, Zulu, Bravo, Lima, still Farmers Branch.
This is Whiskey 5, Golf, Uniform, Sierra, Gus, far northeast Dallas.
Okay, that's a good little group that came in. We had Ted, WB4MFI in Dallas. We have KF5ZBL, Bill in Farmers Branch, and W5GUF, Gus in Dallas. So thanks for a last few check-ins before we get going here. All right, let's get started. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical space, or of general interest to licensed hams. So please come now, anyone who has announcements. Okay, nothing heard. I know that Tony's probably already in bed because he's got Dallas Marathon in the morning, so we are not getting our usual announcements from him, but I'm guessing if he could make an announcement, he would say, if you're going to work the Dallas Marathon in the morning, go to bed. So that's going to be what I would guess Tony would say. Okay, next, the AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 3 nets available to Dallas residents. On Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central, you can check into the National AMSAT net to learn all about amateur radio satellites and how you can use them in amateur radio. The National AMSAT net will bring the most up-to-date information on amateur satellites currently in use or new ones coming online. You'll need an Echolink installed and registered. You can find the net under Groups in Echolink and AMSAT. Also, there's an audio link is available on their website, www.amsatnet.com. This net originates in Houston. We have 2 local nets that are available in Dallas, and both of these nets are, we do encourage active check-ins. You can ask questions of the net control as well as others who are checked in. The first one is the AMSAT net East, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. It's every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on this repeater, 146.88 megahertz, PL tone 110.9. Tuesdays at 8 o'clock, and Tom in 5HYP is the usual net control, and all are welcome to check in. The first Tuesday of the month is the DARC Club Night, so no AMSAT net on that particular Tuesday. The Dallas-Fort Worth AMSAT net West is every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. on the Arlington Club repeater, 147.14 megahertz, PL tone 110.9, positive offset. And of course, the DARC hosts a number of nets on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Check out the w5fc.org website for the schedule. This coming Monday will be, and I do not know, I should have figured that out. Let's see. That will be 3rd week. Looks like Ham Vixen's net. 2nd helping. Monday is the second helping of the Ham Fixers Net. Bring your favorite or new recipes, cooking tips, or techniques. We even wouldn't mind a good restaurant review or two. Just make sure you eat something before the net because you'll get hungry. Brenda, WP50ZL, will be the net control. Saturday nights is the night of net, and we keep the airwaves buzzing here till midnight. And the lineup is TechNet, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., and that's Q&A on all things ham radio related. Plus, let's see, Swap Meet, a Ricky's Corner, news and information. Next, on Saturday nights is DisNet, Skynet, 9 to 10:30 p.m. Astronomy, space, and space exploration are the topics. News and information, satellite passes, and the constellation of the week. Join this popular net about Ham's second most favorite hobby, astronomy. And, of course, there's alternating net controls, and tonight it's me. And at 10:30 to midnight every Saturday night is the Afterglow Movie Net. That's where we usually talk about what's usually a bad sci-fi movie, and it's pretty nice, informal, fun, easy net. And if you're just kind of a night owl, stay up till midnight with us and talk about the Afterglow movie. Let's see, Daily Net. I'm not going to go into that, but we do have some daily. Our main daily net is the ARRL traffic net, and it's on this repeater at 6:30. There's also a traffic net on 146.72 at 9:30 p.m. That's the Irving repeater. Okay, Tom, KE5ICX, would you like to read for us tonight's wonderful Afterglow movie information?
Oh, Virginia, you know I would love to. Tonight's Afterglow is World War Z from 2013. Jerry Lane was a family man. He was out with Karen and his two girls, Rachel and Connie, for a drive. It was a nice day in downtown Philadelphia, but the radio blared out what Lane considered a Sunday showstopper. Well, Cynthia, what's the weather like in the city of brotherly love this morning? Cynthia, the talking head, responded, well, Bill, it's a beautiful day today except for the zombie apocalypse convention downtown. Seems some of the convention goers are out enjoying the tourist sites in town and decided to have lunch a little early. They're also blocking traffic on the southbound expressway. We recommend you keep your windows rolled up and don't invite hitchhikers into your car, especially if they look hungry. Lane took this all in stride, as it was always something, and visiting zombies pretty much messed up the nice weekend with his kids. Join us for the surprisingly well-received World War Z, or as we say in amateur radio, World War Z, from 2013 tonight at 10:30 p.m. Bring something to eat. KE5ICX.
Okay, thank you, Tom. This is Virginia in B5F. I will be there tonight to talk about World War Z. You can keep up with all DARC events, nets, and activities by going to the club website, w5fc.org. And let's see, we currently have the people checked in via the website. You can go to the website and click on the hot link to check into the net. And let's see if we have any new folks down there. Looks like, let me reload this real quick, make sure. Okay, looks like we're all caught up on the spreadsheet. So, thanks everybody for checking in via the website. It actually kind of speeds things up just a little. Okay, I will now take additional voice check-ins. If anyone would like to join Skynet, please come now with your call phonetically, your name, and your location.
Alpha Bravo 5 Delta Mike, Dustin in Dallas.
Okay, we've added a Alpha Bravo 5 Delta Mike, Dustin in Dallas. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Skynet. Next we have the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope, and to bring you that, we have Chaz, KF5JHA. Take it away, Chaz.
Thank you, Virginia. This is Chad, KF5JHA. There is no task club meeting in December because the holiday party and awards banquet, it's already happened. January 24th, 2025 will be the next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas club meeting. The meeting will be held at 7:30 p.m. in person at the University of Texas at Dallas, and will also have a Zoom component too. The featured speaker is task member Max Cornell. His topic will be orbital light pollution. I've had that happen to me taking images. I've had satellites pass in front of my imaging. Saturday night public observing sessions continue. Skynet was picked to be on Saturday night, so there could be an opportunity for live reports from the test public observing sessions. I'm laughing because Bob the cat is meowing beside me. On the second Saturday of the month, that would be tonight, the stargazing is held at Frisco. Now, that's kind of a long string to get from the repeater to Frisco, but is there anybody that's at that stargazing that would like to make a report? Come now with your call sign if you'd like to do so. An echo link if they made it this far. You can check the TASS website, texasastro.org, for up-to-date information and details about meetings and public observing sessions. And let me see, K5JDW is asking on the echo link if he got checked in. So it's up to you, Virginia. Back to you, KF5JHA.
Okay, thank you, Chaz. And yes, John, K5JDW, I checked you in through the website check-in, and I also do see you there on Echolink, so thank you for asking. And thank you, Chaz, for the announcements from Texas Astronomical Society. Next, we have National Space Society events with Bill N5BB. Please come now and give us that information.
Thank you, Virginia. This is N5BB, November 5, Bravo, Bravo. I happen to be the Vice President and Membership Director of the North Texas chapter of the National Space Society. You can reach me at space@byron.net. It's SPACE at BYROM.net. The National Space Society is a nonprofit group based in the U.S. which is interested in the exploration and development of space and the creation of a spacefaring civilization. The big event each year for the National Space Society is the International Space Development Forum, called ISDC. The next ISDC will be held in Orlando, Florida, on June the 19th to 22nd, 2025. The North Texas chapter of the National Space Society meets at 3:30 p.m. on the second Sunday afternoon of each month. The meeting location is normally Spring Creek Barbecue on the southwest corner of Highway 183 and Beltline Road in Irving. The next meeting will be held on Sunday afternoon, January the 12th in Irving. The last meeting was last Sunday, and it was our holiday party, and it was at my house. And so Brenda and Virginia were there. Hey, good to see them. And we did all kinds of spacey things, like eat space cookies and barbecue. On the last Friday evening of we had a talk, by the way, by John Quinn, the CEO of Exos Aerospace, a company out near Greenville, Texas, about an hour east of Dallas, that actually builds rockets. On the last Friday evening of each month, that's the last Friday evening of each month, from 6 to 8 p.m., the National Space Society North Texas chapter sponsors a social event called Space Rendezvous. The location is Cheddar's Restaurant, 700 West Highway 635 in Irving. This is near the intersection of MacArthur and Highway 635 in North Irving. Anyone is welcome to attend and discuss human activities in space with us. No membership in any group is required. The next Space Rendezvous social dinner will be held 2 days after Christmas Day, Friday, December the 27th. Our local National Space Society chapter website is ntx.nss.org. That's NTX, the abbreviation for North Texas, .nss.org. Our group also has an active Facebook page. Just type National Space Society of North Texas into the search box. If you have any questions about the National Space Society, please contact Bill, N5BB, at his QRZ listed email address or at space@byram.net. This is N5BB. Back to you, Brenda. Thank you.
Bill?
I'm in Virginia.
And next we do have Virginia. By that, but Bill is Brenda, and next we do have Brenda with recent astronomical discovery. So Brenda, WB5ZL is all yours. This is WB5OZL. I wasn't sure about that. Virginia, your audio is very low, but I think you called on me. So I'm going to go ahead. The title of this article is Mars's infamous dust storms can engulf the entire planet. A new study examines how. Today's weather report on Mars, windy with a chance of catastrophic dust storms blotting out the sky. In a new study, planetary scientists at the University of Colorado Boulder have begun to unravel the factors that kick off major dust storms on Mars, weather events that sometimes engulf the entire planet in swirling grit. The team discovered that relatively warm and sunny days may help trigger them. Kashani Paris, lead author of the study, said the findings are a first step toward forecasting extreme weather on Mars, just like scientists do on Earth. Dust storms have a significant effect on rovers and landers on Mars, not to mention what will happen during future crewed missions to Mars, said Paris, a graduate student at the Laboratory for Atmospheric and Space Physics at CU Boulder. This dust is very light and sticks to everything. She will present the results on December 10th at the 2024 meeting of the American Geophysical Union in Washington. To put dust storms under the magnifying glass, the researchers drew on real observations of NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter satellite. So far, they have identified weather patterns under roughly two-thirds Okay, we've lost Brenda. I can hear her on Echolink, but I do not hear her on the repeater.
Let's see. The storm knocked over a satellite dish and tossed around astronauts. The reality is less cinematic. Mars' atmosphere is much thinner than Earth, so dust storms on the red planet can't generate much force, but they can still be trouble. In 2018, for example, a global dust storm burned the cells on Mars Opportunity rover under a layer of dust. The rover died not long after. Even though the wind pressure may not be enough to knock over equipment, these dust grains can build up a lot of speed and pelt astronauts and their equipment. Stand by, please. In the current study, Paris and Haynes set their sights on two weather patterns that tend to occur every year on Mars known as A and C storms. The team pored over observations of Mars from the Mars Climate Sounder instrument aboard the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter over 8 Mars years, 15 years on Earth. In particular, Paris and Haynes looked for periods of unusual warmth or weeks when more sunlight filtered through Mars' thin atmosphere and baked the planet's surface. They discovered that roughly 68% of major storms on the planet were preceded by a sharp rise in temperatures at the surface, and in other words, the planet heated up. Then a few weeks later, conditions got dusty. It's on the air to get clear enough to form a major dust storm, Haney said. The team can't prove that those often forming those towering gray clouds that signal rain. When you heat up the surface, stand by, please. When, let's see, where was I? My apologies. I just switch back and forth between screens. When you heat up the surface, the layer of atmosphere right above it becomes buoyant, and it can rise, taking dust with it, Pyrrhus said. She and Hayne are now gathering observations from more recent years on Mars to continue to explore these explosive weather patterns. Eventually, they'd like to get to the point where they can look at live data coming from the red planet and predict what could happen in the weeks ahead. The study is not the end-all and be-all of predicting storms on Mars, so let's hope it's a step in the right direction. All right, this is from ScienceDaily.com. Back to net. This is WD50ZL.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Appreciate the report, and thanks for a good topic. We Echolink dropped a couple of times. Someone like Bill came to the rescue, got the repeater working right. Not sure what's going on there. We'll figure it out, but overall we heard most of that. All right, next is the topic of the evening, and that's my job since I'm the net control. And I'm going to be sharing a paper that I wrote a couple years ago called NASA's New Moon Treaty, and this is about the Artemis Accords. And it's kind of timely that I picked the subject this week, and you'll see why at the end. So, also, I'm going to encourage people to go over to YouTube. Tom, KE5ICX, runs a YouTube simulcast every evening for Skynet and Afterglow. And he is our slide master. He puts up really fantastic images which coincide with the topics. And he put up some good Mars stuff with Brenda's topic. And I will be busy reading my paper, so I won't know exactly what he's going to put up, but I'm sure he's picked some nice things to go along with this. And then he also does the other features that Chaz does for What's Up and Constellation of the week. Every week, Tom runs the slides for Chaz. So go to YouTube and look for a channel called DARC Skynet on YouTube, and you should find a live feed from Tom running the images for Skynet this evening. So again, my name is Virginia. My call is NV5S, and this is my presentation about the Artemis Accord, NASA's new moon treaty. In the summer of 1968, while the United States was in the home stretch of the race to the moon, embroiled in violent political changes which were spreading around the world and locked in a Cold War with the Soviets, the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey was released to theaters. In one of its early sequences, the film explores concerns about international cooperation on the moon. That summer, before Apollo 8 ever orbited the moon on its historic Christmas reconnaissance mission, these issues were on people's minds, as well as those of the world leaders who had already forged and ratified several treaties and agreements concerning some of the very issues explored in 2001. The United Nations Treaty on Principles Governing the Activities of States in the Exploration and Use of Outer Space, including otherwise known as the Outer Space Treaty of 1967, and later agreements concerning responsibility for objects launched into space and rendering of aid to any astronauts in distress, also in 1967, had been widely accepted and agreed upon, while the UN's further efforts, agreement governing the activities of states on the moon and other celestial bodies, the Moon Treaty of 1979, was, for the most part, ignored by world governments. Since the initial efforts by the U.S. and the Soviet Union to explore space were a political outgrowth of the Cold War, which was rooted in fear of nuclear attack, it made perfect sense for the UN to take the peaceful, cooperative language of the Outer Space Treaty is punctuated with prohibitions of using space for nuclear weapons and military aggression. States parties to the treaty undertake not to place in orbit around the Earth any objects carrying nuclear weapons or any other kind of weapons of mass destruction, install such weapons on celestial bodies, or station with weapons in outer space in any other manner. The Outer Space Treaty, which effectively extends the principles of the 1963 Space Treaty to include the moon and other celestial bodies, was ratified by 112 nations, including the USSR and the U.S., and was followed by cooperative efforts which have endured to this day. While the Moon Treaty, conceived by the UN at the close of the Apollo era, but not issued until 1979, was an effort to further address concerns of international cooperation in and peaceful use of celestial bodies, it ultimately has failed by being redundant and mistimed, belaboring points already adopted in previous space treaties, adding controversial language implying collectivism, and giving no specific framework for cooperation in managing rights to space resources. In contrast, The Hague's newly drafted Building Blocks for the Development of an International Framework on Space Resource of 2019 and recently adopted Artemis Accords based on The Hague Building Blocks brought forth by NASA in 2020 are a timely solution to both preserving the guiding principles of the UN Outer Space Treaty and related agreements, as well as giving guidelines to incrementally developing economic and commercial policy according to international law. The Moon Treaty sought to more explicitly define ideas which had been addressed in 1967, including conduct by parties exploring the Moon and specifically prohibiting uses of the lunar orbit or surface for deployment of nuclear weapons. However, a large part of it reiterated most of the issues covered in earlier documents. Many articles restate principles already contained in the Outer Space Treaty, such as the carrying out of space activities in accordance with international law, Article 2, and the Space Law Specific Rules on Responsibility and Liability, Article 14. Some provisions are more detailed than in the Outer Space Treaty and add clarity to relevant concepts such as peaceful purposes, Article 3, prohibiting any threat or use of force or any other hostile act or threat of hostile act, or the term astronaut, Article 10, including any person on the Moon. In its most controversial language, the Moon Treaty redefined space from the province of mankind to the heritage of mankind and made assertions that all bodies in the solar system and any economic benefit from them must be governed by international law with equal benefit for all nations on Earth, regardless of level of participation. The treaty strongly implies, without being plain in its language, that there could be no outright commercial use of space by any one state or private entity. Any use of space for its resources should be governed by an international regime with strong implications that this be under the direction of the UN. It also adds very general ideals such as due regard shall be paid to the interests of present and future generations, as well as to the need to promote higher standards of living and conditions of economic and social progress and development in accordance with the Charter of the United Nations. The treaty was opened for signatures in October 1979 and did not officially take effect until 1984, when it had achieved the required 5 participant nations. To date, the Moon Treaty has only been signed by 18 countries and ratified only by 7, none of which are major powers in space. The lack of traction by the Moon Treaty and the lack of new interest, even with the space renaissance and current plans to visit the Moon, Mars, and other bodies in the solar system, indicates that it has somehow fallen short of meeting its objective to unify nations on matters of exploring and exploiting the resources of the Moon and other celestial objects. The time between its conception in the early 70s and drafting in 1979 was lengthy due to arguments about political language and implication of terms such as heritage of mankind. The rejection of the Moon agreements by the United States and other countries can therefore hardly be explained by legal arguments, but is rather politically motivated. Commentators have described the common heritage of mankind as a socialist concept, hostile to entrepreneurship and private investment, which is quite remarkable as at the time of drafting of the Moon agreement, the Soviet Union was in opposition to this concept, while the United States supported it. As the 70s played out with less interest in returning to the Moon and overtures of commercialization of space, it stands to reason that a sort of forced collectivism would overstep the bounds of what major players like the U.S. and the USSR would accept. By not ratifying the Moon Treaty, both superpowers were silently opposing redistribution of resources technology, and intellectual property to non-participating nations. The subtext of which is that no one can own or profit from anything found or utilized in space. Neither the surface nor the subsurface of the moon, nor any part thereof, or natural resources in place, shall become property of any state, international, intergovernmental, or non-governmental organization, national organization, or non-governmental entity, or of any natural person. As NASA has cooperated with commercial interests to return to the moon, a relevant alternative to the Moon Treaty has emerged. An international framework on space resource activities were published, introducing a higher level of detail as to rights and responsibilities of nations and commercial entities in the new rapidly developing frontier. These building blocks, which have clearer definitions and less prohibitive language regarding rights to obtain profit and resources, have been legitimized, summed up, solidified, and put into action by the Artemis Accords, Principles for a Safe, Peaceful, and Prosperous Future, drafted by NASA in 2020 and signed by many major players, namely the U.S., the U.K., Canada, France, and Japan. While the Artemis Accords prove the political leadership which NASA and the U.S. play in the governing of activity in space, they are legitimized internationally by the backing of principles drafted by The Hague and the open crediting of the UN space agreements. The Artemis Accords make it clear that commercialization of space in accordance with international law under the supervision of a more clearly defined regime is a necessary part of what will make the future safe and peaceful. The Artemis Accords openly acknowledge the authority of the UN and the Space Treaty as the basis for conduct and use of resources in space. The signatories emphasize that the extraction and utilization of space resources, including any recovery from the surface or subsurface of the Moon, Mars, comets, or asteroids, should be executed in a manner that complies with the Outer Space Treaty and in support of safe and sustainable space activities. The signatories affirm that the extraction of space resources does not inherently constitute national appropriation under Article 2 of the Outer Space Treaty, and that contracts and other legal instruments relating to space resources should be consistent with that treaty. The signatories commit to informing the Secretary General of the United Nations as well as the public and the international scientific community of their space resource extraction activities in accordance with the Outer Space Treaty. The language of the building blocks is more specific and relevant, while in essence restating many ideals from the Moon Treaty. It describes what the duties of an international framework are, as well as advocating the autonomy of states, companies, and their financial and technological interests, while encouraging all to consider a system of benefit sharing for all nations by appropriate means of investing in infrastructure and education in developing countries which have interest in advancing toward our future in space. The international framework should not require compulsory monetary benefit sharing. Operators, states, and industries exploiting space resources should be encouraged to provide for benefit sharing. And though the Artemis Accords are specifically named for the NASA program, which is currently underway, they also outline a more general approach based on the Hague building blocks, and NASA has pledged that the Accords will be inclusive of nations both experienced in space, such as Canada, Japan, and the European Space Agency member states, and those that are newer to the final frontier, like New Zealand and Bahrain. The Moon Treaty of 1979 had worthy goals and intentions informed by the success of the Apollo program, and is to be credited, along with earlier UN space treaties, for reinforcing a foundation for early efforts by the UN took the lead in a tense Cold War atmosphere where reassurance of peaceful use of space was needed, while discounting commercial interests, which at the time of the U.S.-Soviet space race took a back seat to political motivations. The Artemis Accords of 2020 are a relevant successor which acknowledge the Outer Space Treaty and leave room for commercial and economic interests to work within a framework of international cooperation, allowing policy to unfold on a case-by-case basis. In short, the Hague building blocks and the Artemis Accords take concepts from the Moon Treaty and put them in balance with the emerging realities of the 21st century. If the nations capable of developing space through commercialization of scientific research are allowed to act freely with a framework of cooperation, the widespread use of technology and resources, from GPS to satellite communication to Velcro and the microwave oven, hopefully leading us to a safe, peaceful, and prosperous future in space. And this is Virginia. My call sign is ND5F, and I am the net control for Skynet. And a little follow-up to that, and I won't read all of this because that was quite long, is that this week, actually, on December 11th, the Artemis Accords reached 50 signatories with the addition of Panama and Austria. So on, I believe that was Wednesday, we had Panama and Austria added to the Artemis Accords. And we've got a nice little group. And I didn't mention it in the paper, but obviously missing from this list of signatories is Russia, which I actually found pretty interesting when I was writing that a couple years ago. Let's see. So I'll read a little bit of this. In separate ceremonies at NASA headquarters, Panama's and Austria's ambassadors to the United States signed the Artemis Accords. The document, which the United States and 7 other nations initially signed in 2020, describes the best practices that countries commit to following in spaceflight in areas ranging from sharing of scientific data to utilization of space resources. And with the addition of these 2 countries, now 50 nations have signed the accords. This is a milestone celebrated by NASA. So the choice of subject lined up nicely with this cool story about the Artemis Accords now reaching 50. And with that, I will finish this topic. We're on our way to the moon, and we've got a lot of people who want to cooperate in the exploration and joint benefits we can receive from exploring the solar system. And next, does anyone have any comments or questions about tonight's presentation? Please come now with your call sign.
Wait, check-in.
Okay, late check-in. Please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location.
Kilo Echo 5, Lima Zulu Echo, Randy, and Alan Calvin.
Okay, I got Kilo Echo 5, LZE, Randy. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And I'll take a few more check-ins later after a couple more things. And the next is What's Up with Chaz, KF5JHA from NB5F. It's all yours, Chaz.
Virginia, this is Chaz, KF5JHA, Slide Master. Slide number 2, please. We call this segment of Skynet What's Up because it's all about what's going on astronomically over the past couple of weeks and over the next couple of weeks to come and beyond. Slide number 3, please. We've talked about the predicted nova of the star T Corona Borealis, which may erupt any time. It's past due, according to our predictions. It's currently at a brightness of around 10th magnitude, which is much too faint to to be able to see with just your two eyes. But when it goes nova, the star T Corona Borealis could become as bright as the North Star. Now, I can see the North Star with just my two eyes from my very light-polluted location in Mesquite. Slide Master, slide number 4. This image of the sun was taken today with my ZWO C-star. The large sunspot complexes on the sun are sometimes so large that you can use just your solar eclipse glasses to see them. The sun is near its 11-year solar maximum. Now, I just talked about the solar cycle 2 weeks ago on Skynet. You can listen to a replay of that probably over on YouTube. There you go. Slide Master, slide number 5, please. Now, speaking of the ZWO C-star, I took this image of the comet C2023A3T Atlas on December the 11th, just this past Wednesday, while I was at the Brookhaven campus of Dallas College. Now, it's sort of like a shadow of its former self, but we can still image it. I didn't try to spot the comet with binoculars, nor try to spot it with a telescope, because we had too many lights that were still turned on the campus for that to happen. Slide Master, slide number 6. The first quarter moon occurred on December the 8th, so the current phase of the moon is a waxing gibbous. Yep, it's just a little bit away from being a full moon, which is tomorrow. On December the 22nd, the moon is at third quarter phase. On December the 24th, the moon will be at apogee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth, at a distance of 404,485 kilometers. On December 30th, the moon is at its new phase. On January the 6th, the moon phases first quarter phase. On January the 7th, the moon is at perigee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth at a distance of 370,171 kilometers. Slide Master, slide number 7, please. On the night of December the 13th, 14th, that's really tonight, the peak of the Geminid meteor shower could produce as many as 150 meters per hour. The problem is there's a almost full moon that's interrupting that. So we're only going to see the brightest ones. The best time to observe meteors is usually the hour before dawn, because the side of the Earth that is running into the debris, that's the side, that's the morning side of the Earth. If you want to get more information about meteors and meteor showers, you can visit the International Meteor Organization at IMO.net or the American Meteor Society at AMSmeteors.org. Slide Master, slide number 8. Now this morning, if it had been clear, it was cloudy here for me anyway, December the 14th, the moon and Jupiter were in conjunction in the northwestern morning sky. Now, they're still pretty close together. Yes, John over on Echolink was mentioning that. They're close together by a few degrees in the sky, but millions of miles apart. Yes, I pointed that out to John. Slide Master, slide number 9, please. Well, in just a couple of nights, on the night of December 15th, 16th, there's a peak of the Coma Bernices meteor shower, and it could produce just a handful of meteors per hour. The best time to observe them, remember, the hour before dawn. Slide Master, slide number 10. On December the 17th, the moon and the bright star Pollux are in conjunction in the western morning sky. Slide Master, slide number 11. On December the 18th, the moon and Mars are in conjunction in the morning sky. And slide number 12, there's another meteor shower on the night of December the 19th, 20th. That's the Leonis Minoris meteor shower. And again, it could produce a handful of meteors per hour. The last part of the year is the best time for meteors. The first half of the year, we don't have that many meteor showers. But the last half of the year, quite a few. Let's see now. The next is slide number 13. On December the 20th, the moon and Regulus are in conjunction in the morning sky. Slide Master 14. On the night of December 21st, 22nd, the Ursius meteor shower could produce a dozen meteors per hour. And let's see now, slide Master, slide number 15. On December the 24th, that's Christmas Eve, the moon and the bright star Spica are in conjunction in the southeastern morning sky. And slide master, slide number 16. On December the 28th, the moon and the star Antares, that's the brightest star in the constellation of Scorpius, the Scorpion, are in conjunction in the southeastern morning sky. And slide number 17, one of the best meteor showers in the year, on January the 3rd and 4th, the quadrantid meteor shower could produce as many as 120 meteors in an hour. Now, the moon phase is going to be good for this, but again, it's going to be kind of cold. The best time to observe the meteors is usually the hour before dawn, which is one of the coldest times during the day, because that's the side of the Earth that's running into them. Once again, if you want information about meteors and meteor showers, you can visit the International Meteor Organization at imo.net or the American Meteor Society at amsmeteors.org. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide master, slide number 18. Now, do any of you out there in Radio Land have questions or need a fill on any of the information? Or maybe you just have a general astronomy question. Come now with your call sign if you need a fill or have a question. Slide master, slide number 19. So the moon wanes next week. So to these words for this segment of Skynet: stay safe, keep well, pray for our world. It's the only one where humans live right now. Well, a few are out there in orbit. Until next time, actually I'll be doing another Skynet segment in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is KF5JJ, back to our net control. Thank you, Virginia.
Okay, thank you, Chaz. Appreciate it. And next we have space exploration and space history. It looks like Brenda, WB5OZL, will bring that to us this week. So it's all yours, Brenda.
Good evening. The time is 10 p.m. Thank you, Virginia. And that was all very interesting. This is WB5OZL, and we're going to talk about space exploration news. SpaceX rolls the 7th Starship spacecraft out for testing ahead of next launch. The world's most powerful during its next test flight. The 7th launch of SpaceX's Starship mega rocket is expected within the next month or so. After a recent static fire of the vehicle's massive super heavy first stage booster, the company has prepped the Starship's upper stage for testing of its own. Starship ready for testing ahead of Flight 7, SpaceX said in a post on X on Wednesday, December 11th, sharing photos of the Starship vehicle on the move to its test stand at the company's Starbase facility in South Texas. SpaceX has not announced a date for the upcoming integrated test flight, but an email from NASA to the U.S. FAA identified January 11th as a likely target. Next, NASA's Perseverance rover reaches the top of Jezero crater rim. NASA's Perseverance Mars rover has crested the top of Jezero crater's rim at a location the science team calls Lookout Hill, and is rolling toward its first science stop after a months-long climb. The rover made the ascent in order to explore a region of Mars unlike anywhere it has investigated before. Taking about 3.5 months with 640 vertical feet, the rover climbs 20% grades, making stops along the way. upper fan front, and margin unit. The science team is calling Perseverance's fifth campaign the Northern Rim because its route covers the northern part of the southwestern section of Jezerel's rim. Over the first year of the Northern Rim campaign, the rover is expected to visit as many as 4 sites of geologic interest, take several samples, and drive about 4 miles. The Northern Rim campaign brings us completely new scientific riches as Perseverance roves into fundamentally new geology, said Ken Farley, project scientist for Perseverance at Caltech and Pasadena. It marks our transition from rocks that partially filled Jezero crater when it was formed by a massive impact about 3.9 billion years ago to rocks from deep down inside Mars that were thrown upward to form the crater rim after impact. Next up, birthdays. December 11th, 1975, Francisco Rubio. Expedition 6768, currently on the ISS, which launched on 9/21. December 12th, 1951, Stephen Hawley, STS 41D, 61C, 31, 82, and 93. December 12th, 1964, Kenneth Ham, STS 124 and 132. December 14th, 1936, Robert Parker, STS 9 and 35. 1960, Katie Coleman, whose call is Kilo. There is Christmas music in space. 1965, 2 astronauts brought a little holiday cheer to space when they played Jingle Bells aboard Gemini 6A. After achieving the first crewed rendezvous with another spacecraft, astronauts Tom Stafford and Wally Schirra made history again by playing the first musical interlude in space. Before re-entering Earth's atmosphere, Stafford pranked Mission Control with a Santa sighting. Through radio transmission, he claimed, "We have an object, looks like a satellite going from north to south, probably in polar orbit. Very low, looks like you might be going to re-enter soon. Stand by one. You might just let me try to pick up that thing. I see a command module and 8 smaller modules in front. The pilot of the command module is wearing a red suit." At that point, Schirra began playing a tiny harmonica while Stafford jingled these small sleigh bells, which you can see if you're watching YouTube, to the tune of Jingle Bells. In 1967, Stafford and Schirra donated the instruments to the Smithsonian, where they're on display in the Destination Moon Gallery at our National Air and Space Museum at the Smithsonian. So, in 2022, November 16th, Artemis 1 was launched from Launch Complex 39B at the Kennedy Space Center. After reaching Earth orbit, the upper stage carrying the Orion spacecraft separated and performed a translator Orion and deploying 10 CubeSat satellites. Orion completed one flyby. All right, I keep getting messages that repeater's timing out. I don't understand. I'm not getting this the timeout notification. So I think I will stop there and turn it back to Net. This is WB5OZL. Back to Net.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Yeah, I don't know why it's acting that way. Let's see. Tom, do you want to complete this segment for Brenda since you're kind of the alternate net control for her in D5F?
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that. Let me start with the Artemis 1 part. Hold on just a sec. Let me get caught up. All right, continuing with space history, December 11th, this would be 2022, Artemis 1 was launched from Launch Complex 39 via Kennedy Space Center. After reaching Earth orbit, the upper stage carrying the Orion spacecraft separated and performed a trans-lunar injection before releasing Orion and deploying 10 CubeSat satellites. Orion completed one flyby of the Moon on November 21st, entered a distant retrograde orbit for 6 days, and completed a second flyby of the Moon on December 5th. The spacecraft then returned and re-entered the Earth's atmosphere with protection of its heat shield splashing down in the Pacific Ocean on December 11th, 2022. 50 years, well, now 52 years ago in 1972, the Apollo 17 lunar module Challenger touched down on the lunar surface and made the last human moon landing to date. The astronauts Gene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt would perform 3 moonwalks over the course of their 75-hour stay on the surface. Thanks to the electric-powered lunar roving vehicle, they also traveled 22 miles, venturing as far as 4.6 miles from the lunar module. On the descent stage of the Apollo 17's lunar module, the astronauts left behind a plaque that reads, "Here Ben completed his first exploration of the Moon, December 1972 AD. May the spirit of peace in which we came be reflected in the lives of all mankind." On December 12, 1961, the first Oscar Phase 1 amateur satellite was launched, piggyback with Discover 36. A group of enthusiasts in California formed Project Oscar and persuaded the United States Air Force to replace ballast on the Agena upper stage with a 4.5-kilogram Oscar 1 package. The satellite was box-shaped with a single monopole antenna and battery-powered. The 140-milliwatt transmitter on board discharged its batteries after 3 weeks. 570 amateurs in 28 countries reported receiving its simple high Morse code, code signals on the VHF 2-meter band 144.983 megahertz on January 1st, 1962. Oscar re-entered the atmosphere January 31st, 1962 after 312 revolutions. The observations provided important information on radio propagation through the ionosphere, the spacecraft's orbit, and thermal satellite design. Oscar 1 led the creation of the Amateur Satellite Corporation, or AMSAT, in 1969. On December 13, 1993, the Space Shuttle Endeavour landed after completing STS-61, the first Hubble Space Telescope repair mission. This flight was one of the most challenging and complex crewed missions ever attempted. During a record 5 back-to-back spacewalks totaling 35 hours and 28 minutes, 2 teams of astronauts successfully completed servicing Hubble. One of the primary servicing goals was to install new solar arrays to the telescope. This is accomplished by astronauts Catherine Thornton and Tom Akers during the second extravehicular activity of the mission. After 9 days, the HST was redeployed. And then finally, on December 14, 2009, the Wide Field Infrared Explorer, or WISE, astronomy satellite was launched. It was designed to conduct an all-sky survey at infrared frequencies of 3 4.4, 4.6, 12, and 22 microns, detecting objects 100 times fainter than previous satellites. The primary instrument is a 40-centimeter telescope cooled to 12 Kelvin by a cryostat filled with solid hydrogen. WISE discovered thousands of minor planets and numerous star clusters. After its hydrogen coolant depleted, a mission extension called NEO-WISE was conducted to search for near-Earth objects such as comets and asteroids using its remaining capability. In August of 2013, NASA announced it would reactivate the WISE telescope for a new mission called NEO-WISE to search for asteroids that would collide with Earth. In July 2021, NASA extended the NEO-WISE mission until at least June of 2023. To date, the project has resulted in the detection of over 158,000 asteroids at thermal infrared wavelengths, including 1,850 NEOs, and has discovered 34,000 new satellites, 333 of which are NEOs, or near-Earth objects. The project has detected more than 300 comets, including 34 discoveries. And that's it. Back to you, Virginia. This is KE5ICX. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Appreciate you finishing that up. And now it's time for Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week with Chaz, KF5JHA from Indy 5F. Go ahead, Chaz.
Thank you, Virginia. Slide Master, slide number 20. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent Key, Carolyn, KC5OZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week, almost from its beginning in 2012 till May of 2019, with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen in Texas throughout the year, out of the 88 total number of constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky as seen over North Texas in a year. In her honor, we've continued that tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week this week is actually two Pisces the fishes, or fish or fishes is the plural, and Cetus the sea monster. The constellation Pisces, the fishes, is based upon the Roman myth about Venus and her son Cupid. Venus and Cupid are known as Aphrodite and Eros in Greek mythology. In the story, briefly retold in Cornelius in his book, The Star-Lore Handbook, Venus and Cupid were startled by a monster typhoon, but Venus knew that they could escape by water. She grabbed Cupid and they plunged into the sea, where they were both transformed into fishes. To ensure that they did not lose each other, they tied themselves together with a cord. In the heavens, we see the mother and the son, the cord that binds them in love. Oh, isn't that a sweet story? Slide Master, slide number 21. One of the most important things for Skynet, the jokes of the week. Okay, why did the fish get bad grades? Because it was below sea level, S-E-A level. Oh. What do you call a fish with two legs? A tunny fish. Why don't fish like playing basketball? Because they're terrified of nets. Now the jokes of the week are related to the constellations, so that's the fish one. What do you call a group of whales that play music? An orchestra. What did the whale eat for lunch? Well, fish and chips. What do you get, how do you get two whales in the car? Well, you start in England and drive west. Yeah, John, I know, but a whale is not a fish. Yeah, I'm monitoring Echolink. Yeah, okay. It's a fishy thing anyway. It's a joke. This is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 22. toughest star in Pisces, Orisha, which is Arabic for the word cord. This refers to the cord that ties the two fishes together. Orisha is a binary star whose numbers shine at a magnitude 4.2 and 5.2 with an orbital period of about 730 years. The system lies about 100 light years away. The double is a bit of a challenge to split, as the two stars are only 1.8 arc seconds apart. The stars will continue to get closer to each other until the year 2060, which is called periastron. Pisces 1. If we quote from the Spectrum article, the star system is simply a pair of blue-white stars, both about magnitude 5. They are separated by 30 arc seconds, making it an easy split for even the smallest telescopes. Theta Piscium, in Burnham Celestial Handbook, describes this star as a fine, easy double star located virtually on the ecliptic. The earliest records of this binary star was from William Herschel in 1781, and is known no change in its position of its two components since then, even though proper motion studies show that the two stars to be a true physical pair. There is also some color contrast between the stars. One star displays a lilac color and the other one a nice pale yellow color. Slide master, slide number 23. The only Messier objects in Pisces, is a fine example of a large face-on spiral galaxy. However, it is often referred to as the most difficult of all the Messier objects because of its low surface brightness, spread over a relatively large area of about 10 arc seconds. Stephen James Romero has nicknamed M74 the Phantom. It requires a dark, moonless sky to find, not like tonight, because the light pollution and the moonlight completely overwhelm it. In addition to dark skies, good transparency helps immensely with both finding M74 and trying to see any details. Slide master, slide number 24. About our second constellation. Cetus is a sea monster and is also called a whale. Most of the mythology associated with Cetus refers to it as a whale, as a sea monster. It's best known as the monster sent by Poseidon to devour Andromeda, chained to the rock by the sea as a punishment for her vanity of her mother Cassiopeia. The story has a happy ending, as Andromeda was rescued by Perseus, who flew on the back of the winged horse Pegasus. However, it must be made known that the constellation Cetus was also known as the Leviathan, or a sea monster, by the ancient Chaldeans and Babylonians long before the time of the classic Greek myths. Slide master, slide number 25. Omicron Ceti is also known as Myra, which means wonderful. It is a famous variable star. Astronomer David Friberus, I messed up that name, first noticed it from the observations dating in 1596 and 1609, and its true character was ascertained by an astronomer in Holland in 1638, making the observation and brightness estimates of Myra the first established record of the intrinsically variable star. Algol and Perseus had been known as a variable star in ancient times, but we now know that it's an elliptical binary star and not a true variable. Myra is the first true variable star to be recognized as such. Myra varies from a maximum magnitude of 3.4 to a minimum of 9.3, below what we can see with our two eyes. Usually it is a bit, has been seen to be brightened to more than magnitude 3.4 magnitude. Sometimes it gets slightly dimmer than 9.3. On average, the period is about 331 days. But this is subject to extreme irregularities. Sometimes it can go several years below naked eye brightness. Myra is about 220 light years from our solar system. It's an M-type or red star. Myra is a binary star. It's a faint bluish subdwarf companion and orbits around it. This star is itself also variable, changing from 10th magnitude to 12th magnitude. and back and forth over time. Mincar Alpha Ceti, when Cetus is depicted as a sea monster instead of a whale, Mincar is almost always located in the monster's open jaws. In spite of this, the Arabic name Mincar means nose instead of his mouth. Mincar is a red-orange star shining at about 2.5 magnitude. It's about 150 light years away from us. Mincar forms a wide visual double with 5th magnitude star 93 Ceti, located 15 arc minutes north. The color contrast makes it beautiful sight in binoculars and low-power telescopes. And this is KF5JJ. This is Skynet. Answer slide number 26. M77 is a spiral galaxy, otherwise known as MGC 1068. Burnham's Celestial Handbook notes that it's a chief member of a small group of stars, galaxies, including MGC 1055, 1073, 1087, and 1090, which would make it an interesting group of targets for owners with large aperture, wide field depth tuning and light buckets, like what I have, a 16-inch. Burnham also notes that M77 is an unusual system containing 3 distinct sets of spiral arms. Wow. Slide master, slide number 27. Subject, NGC 246 is a planetary nebula known as the Skull Nebula. It's fairly large and bright planetary. Dave Hutchinson writes that it can be easily spotted at an 8-inch mid-Cassegrain telescope. Mr. Keppel and Mr. Sanders' notes in Night Sky Observer's Guide confirms this, with much more detail showing in a 12 to 14-inch instrument. The nebula shines at magnitude 10.9 and is a bit over 4 arc minutes in diameter, so it's definitely not a class of planetary nebulas that are so small that they look like stars. Slide master, slide number 28, please. Now, there are a few more Astronomical League observing program objects in the constellations Pisces, the Fishes, and Cetus, the sea monster. I've given you a sampling of some of those objects. The Astronomical League has, at last count, 74 different observing programs, and several levels in several of them. Most of them have about 100 objects. If you observe just 10 different objects in an observing program each month, you can enter an observing certificate and a pen in about a year from the Astronomical League. Slide master, slide number 29. And that is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, actually Constellations of the Week. Pisces, the Fishes, and Cetus, the Sea Monster. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for the research and words on deep sky objects that I've used, borrowed, and stolen for every Skynet. I also at times use the website constellation-guide.com for constellation information. Now next week, on December the 21st, my plan is not to present WhatsApp nor the Constellation of the Week, but instead to do what's become an annual tradition, the Star of Bethlehem. What was that star in the sky so long ago? Well, I'll take a look at the Star of Bethlehem from an astronomical point of view at that point. And this is KF5JJ Chaz saying good night and 73 back to our net control. It's all yours, Virginia.
Okay, thanks, Chaz. Appreciate it, and I will be looking forward to next week. This is Virginia in B5F. And before we move on, I do want to recognize one more online check-in, and that is N5OF Clay in Mesquite. And before we finish up with the last few things, I will see if there are any more check-ins for Skynet. Please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. All right, nothing heard. So just about last anyway, but they released space launches for this week, and also after that we have the satellite passages. So Tom, if you want to just go ahead and do both of those, please do so now.
All right, thank you, Virginia. We're running a little late, but I'll give the short version of these. Everything I guess comes from spaceflightnow.com /launch schedule. Let me give you a few coming up. We have December 15th, 16th, Falcon 9 launch of the RRT-1. This will be from Cape Canaveral, SLC 40 in Florida. The rocket will launch an RRT-1 mission for the U.S. Space Force, and the Falcon 9's first stage booster will land on a drone ship. On December 16th will be another Falcon 9 launch. This will be O3B mPOWER 7 and 8. This will launch from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy. This will launch the pair of these two satellites to medium Earth orbit on behalf of the Luxembourg-based SES. And then we have on December 17th, 18th overnight will be the Electron Owl the Way Up. This is from New Zealand. Will launch from Mahia Peninsula on Launch Complex 1. This Electron rocket will launch a Stryax satellite for Synspective, a Japanese Earth observation company, to continue building out its synthetic aperture radar SAR satellite constellation. This will be the 6th launch out of 16 booked for Electron for Synspective. For passes, satellite passes, we have the ISS has a couple of good passes. We have December 14th, minus 1.2 magnitude, 5:30 in the morning out of the south, reach its highest point at 21 degrees at 5:33, and it'll fall to the east-northeast at 5:35. 15th has a really good pass, minus 3.6 magnitude, 6:18 in the morning, reaches highest point at 51 degrees at 6:20, and falls to the northeast at 6:24. December 16th has a good pass, minus 2.7 magnitude, 5:32 in the morning. Out of the east, it'll reach its highest point at 41 degrees in the east-northwest and fall at 5:35. Then we have December 15th, minus 2.2 magnitude, 6:19 in the morning once again, north-northwest this time, about 19 degrees at 6:19, and it'll fall to the northeast. And then finally, December 18th, minus 1.0 magnitude. That'll be out of the north-northeast to reach its highest point at 11 degrees, and then it'll fall to about 10 degrees. So those are the good passes for the International Space Station. Well worth it if you can get up a little earlier than normal. Well, 5:30, 6 o'clock, you should be able to see these passes without too much trouble. Back to you, Virginia. This is KE5ICX.
Okay, thank you, Tom. And yes, we are over time, so I will wrap it up here. We had a total of 19 hams participating on the air for this evening on Skynet. Thank you to all of you who checked in this evening. We hope you'll join us here next week and every single Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration on this net. The sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net controls on the DARC nets, and if you're interested, please email nets@w5fc.org. I will now break for finishing this net, and I guess we'll meet here in about 5 minutes for World War Z, the fabulous zombie film, which is very festive and Christmassy, especially if you like zombies. We'll be back here in a few for Afterglow. This is NV5F closing Skynet.
Thank you, Virginia. Okay, you found out the Is there another net coming up? Is that what you're saying? Is there another net coming up?
yes, we have our Afterglow movie net is going to be in a few minutes after everybody takes a break, probably in about 5 minutes in the 5F.
Okay, awesome. I'll wait for that. Thank you. K5LZE. Kilo Echo 5, Lima, Zulu Echo. Anybody out there? T5LZE. Bob, LTZ, 65 BGW. Yeah, okay, my call's Kilo Echo 5, Lima, Zulu Echo. KI 5, I think it was. I can't remember, I don't know. My apologies. I just went by memory, and I couldn't. I'm not sure if I got it right or not. Yeah, I mean, the net's not going to start for a few minutes, but if you're, I don't know. What you want? What was that? What was that again? Just going to say the net's not going to start until a few minutes. But I don't know. You put your call out there, so I figured, hell, maybe I'll respond or somebody. So that's what I did. KQ5UW.
Roger. Yeah, I'm just trying to get them filled in before the net goes back up there again. So anyhow, my call sign is KQ5LZE. I'm actually in Louisville, Texas, not Carrollton, Texas. When you go into Carrollton, it shows Louisville, Carrollton, but I'm not there anymore. Just moved down here a little while ago and live in an apartment. On a 5/8 wave mag mount on a pizza pie antenna with a Yaesu FT897. I probably sound pretty hot. I usually do, but that's just the way I am.
Well, I'm on that link right now. Their signal's great and to the repeater from what I can hear. In fact, if there's anything that probably could, let me say it this way. You're actually a little bit close into the microphone, so it's a little bit hard to hear what you're saying on occasion. Sorry, don't take this the wrong way, but you got a good CD voice. I mean, it just reminds me of some random traffic I've heard in the past. So I don't know if you've ever been. I don't know. It just. Honestly, I'm trying to think of what there's. I don't know. I'm just being random right now. KQ5BCW.
What voice? What kind of voice? What'd you say? What kind of voice?
A CB voice. Citizens, Citizens, what the hell is B and CB? I don't know what there's something it just reminds me of something. I can't quite remember what. Actually, I think that it was a dumb thing that I just said anyway. I don't know. Because I don't know why because I don't even listen to TV. It's just that I've heard, it's just the way you sound. And it's a really, like I said, it's a random dumb thing I just said. But it reminds me of something. It ticks me off. I can't even think of what it is. I kind of have an idea, but it's even, I don't know. It'd be hard to explain.
Oh, okay. So I get it. You think I have a CB voice, which I'm not educated, and that even though I have a license, talking on radio, that I have a CB voice, and I'm not educated enough. Is that what it is? That's what it sounds like. Like I'm dumb. That you call me stupid, basically. No, I get it. All right. No, I'll accept that. No big deal. I don't know what you're talking about, CB voice, but I mean, everybody came from somewhere, right? What? Were you born with a golden spoon in your mouth? Is that what you had in your mouth, a golden spoon? That had amateur extra, you know? What is it? You tell me. P5LZE. On my CB voice. getting down on Bob.
We could go ahead and get started, guys. This is KE5ICX. I'll be the net control tonight.
Did not mean that as an insult in any way, and please get started. My apologies.
I'll get back to you. K7LZ.
All right, thank you guys. And no, I don't think Jay meant anything like that, what you might have been thinking. We're a very friendly group. We've been meeting on this repeater for like, 15 years at least. Everyone gets along, so don't take anything personally. That was never ever the intent. I know Jay very well. All right, this is KE5ICX. I'll be your net control for tonight's Afterglow Movie Net, which is the fine film from 2013 called World War Z, or as we like to call it, World War Z. And let me give you a little synopsis and then the rules for the road tonight. World War Z is a 2013 American action horror film directed by Mark Forster with a screenplay by Michael Carnahan and a few other people. I'm going to say, geez. With a story by Carnahan and J. Michael Straczynski, who was one of my favorite guys who created Babylon 5. Inspired by the 2006 novel by the same name by Max Brooks. Yes, he is related, the son of Mel Brooks. It stars Brad Pitt as Jerry Lane, a former United Nations investigator who travels the world seeking a solution for a sudden zombie apocalypse, along with ensemble supporting cast, including, I don't know who these people are, Muriel Enos and James Badge Dale. From Wiki. I wish I were this smart, but I'm not, so I'm just going to read the plot as stated here. Former United Nations investigator Jerry Lane, his wife Karen, and their two daughters, Rachel and Connie, are caught in a traffic jam in downtown Philadelphia when zombies invade. During the ensuing chaos, they escape to Newark. I don't know if that's an escape or imprisoned, where they seek shelter with a couple and their young son, Tommy. The next day, Gerald tries to convince Tommy's family to join his, and staying is not safe. However, Tommy's family refuses. The Lanes head to the roof of the apartment block. Not long after, zombies break into the apartment and turn everyone there but Tommy, who escapes. The Lanes are ambushed at a stairwell. Gerald holds them off so Karen and the girls can get to the roof. They're joined by Tommy, whom Gerald grabs, takes with him. On the roof, they are rescued by a helicopter sent by the UN Deputy Secretary General. I guess it's Thierry Montoni. The group is taken to a U.S. Navy vessel stationed in the Atlantic Ocean, where a team of scientists studies the outbreak. Among them are virologist Andrew Fastback, who believes that the plague is caused by a virus and is finding its origins crucial to developing a vaccine. Faced with the threat of eviction from the vessel, Jerry reluctantly agrees to assist. Fastback and a Navy SEAL escort fly to Camp Humphreys in South Korea, where the first report of zombies was received, leading to an attack on the team upon arrival. Panicked, Fastback discovers that the infection was brought to the base by its doctor. A CIA officer imprisoned guides Jerry towards Israel, where Mossad has established a secure area. Jerusalem, Jerry encounters Jürgen Warmbrum, a high-ranking Mossad official who... Hang on a sec. Cross traffic on my phone here. Let's see. Loud celebrations attract the zombies, leading to a breaching of the wall. Chaos ensues and the city becomes overrun. Warbrun instructs Israeli soldiers to accompany Jerry back to his plane. Amidst the mayhem, Jerry observes zombies ignoring an elderly man and a malnourished boy who remain motionless on the ground. That's a clue, kids. When one of the Jerry's escorts, Segan, is bitten on her hand, he amputates the limb to prevent further spread of the infection. Together, they escape on a commercial airliner. Jerry calls Terry and requests that he redirect a plane to the medical research facility in Cardiff, owned by the World Health Organization. During the journey, stowaway zombie attacks the passengers. To eliminate the zombies, Jerry detonates a grenade to breach the cabin and expel them. The resulting explosion causes the plane to crash land. Segan survived the crash, although Jerry is trapped in a seat and sustains injuries. Segan comes to Jerry's aid, and together they reach the Cardiff facility. However, Jerry loses consciousness due to his injuries and wakes up 3 days later after receiving medical treatment from the WHO staff. I've got something to say about that. He suggests that the zombies ignore people who are already sick or injured, as they are not suitable for infection. Jerry proposes injecting healthy individuals with curable pathogen as a form of camouflage against the zombies. However, the pathogen samples are a section of WHO facility infested with zombies. Jerry, Segan, and the head doctor, Dr. Who, fight through the lab. They retrieve the pathogen samples, but as Jerry is about to leave, a lone zombie blocks his path. Jerry is forced to test his theory by injecting himself. Jerry opens the door. His theory is proven correct. The zombie ignores Jerry. Poor Jerry, or lucky Jerry, allowing him to pass with the pathogen samples in his possession. Jerry and Segan reach a secure area in Freeport, Nova Scotia, and are reunited with Karen, Jerry's daughters, and Tommy, who is now being raised by Karen and Jerry. What a surprise. The vaccine is created, serving as sleuth against the zombies, enabling civilians to evacuate infected regions safely, and empowering the military to combat the zombies more effectively. That's until the apes came, and then everything changed. The end. There you have. That's the story. I'm sticking to it. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take check-ins, and you'll be asked your call sign, your name, and did you see our film? If you said yes, that's perfectly fine. If you say no, that's perfectly fine too. You can talk about whatever you want, but we'll be talking about the movie. Or you can talk about, I don't know, Planet of the Apes, 2001, something. But you're welcome to make your comments. So, we have 3 rounds. After we take check-ins, we'll ask you to tell us about what you thought of the plot, followed by characterization and acting, followed by special effects in that order. So there'll be 3 rounds or 2.5 rounds if it turns out we went a little long. So I'll begin with check-ins. I have a feeling it's going to be a little light tonight because a lot of people are getting up very early tomorrow morning. I won't be one of them. Yay! So it's just too far away. So we'll go ahead and start with your call sign phonetically, please, although I think I know everybody anyhow. Your name, and did you see World War Z? Let's start now.
November Victor 5 Foxtrot, Virginia, and yes, I did see World War Z, but thanks for giving me the option of talking about 2001 if I want.
Everybody talk at once. This is N5BB. Bill and Irving. I saw most of the movie, enough, I guess, to have an opinion.
WB5OZL, Brenda in Dallas. Yes, I saw the movie.
Kilo Echo 5, Lima Zulu Echo. Never seen the movie before. MICB voice.
PCWJ, and yes, I saw the film.
Okay, let's get some, everybody checked out. I'm getting a couple of fills. I got NV5F, Virginia. Yes, she saw the film. N5BB, Bill in Irving. He saw most of the film. WB5OZL, Brenda in Dallas. Yeah, she saw the film. And I think the call, I'm not familiar with it, so forgive me if I mangle this. We'll straighten it out. I think it's Kilo Echo 5, Lima Zulu Echo, KE5LZE. I didn't get your name, nor did you see the film. Could I get your, I'll probably have to ask all three. Did I get your call sign right? And what your name is? And did you see World War Z?
Kilo Echo 5, Lima Zulu Echo, Romeo Alpha, November Delta Yankee, QSL.
Okay, I think it's Randy. I'm sorry, the first two letters kind of dropped out on me, so I'm having a little trouble there. Is that right? Go ahead and give me your name a couple of times. I'll turn up my radio so I can hear you a little better.
Oh my God, I don't know why you're having a hard time hearing me. It's Kilo Echo 5, Lima Zulu Echo, Randy, QSL.
By chance, that would be World War Z from 2013. And you don't have to have seen it. It's just, that's what our topic will be. Okay, maybe we have some communication problems there. I've got KE5BZW, Jay near Weatherford. Yes, he saw the film. Anyone else want to check in? Please come now. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I figured it'd probably be a smaller group tonight, and that's perfectly okay. I know that the Dallas Marathon is tomorrow. So people are getting up very early for that one, at least 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So most people have gone to bed. Wish everybody the best. I wish I were there, but I can't be there. But maybe next year. We'll see. Okay, we'll start with Virginia, NV5F. Virginia, you were first to check in, so you're the first to get to comment on the plot. What did you think about the plot to our fine film this week from KE5ICX?
QSK.
Tom, I think it's my turn, so I'm just going to say a few things. Well, let's see. It seems like zombies have kind of taken over everything all of a sudden. Now I know, it's funny when COVID happened a few years ago, there was all kinds of references to this movie, and now I realize what they all were. So, it had a pretty simple plot. It was pretty straightforward. I understood it pretty well. It did not, it didn't really go anywhere that was too unexpected, but at the same time, it moved along very quickly. They got going quick. It started with sort of standard stuff where you have this sort of opening montage of people beginning their day and all of the random news stories that seem like nothing that are all going to add up to be a zombie apocalypse, and you don't realize that until, you know, people are out in the streets and suddenly everything's, you know, all these people are crashing cars and getting just getting run over. It was full of all kinds of action and scary stuff, but I didn't really feel like it was really too horror for me because I'm not a horror person. But this movie was so over the top that it was mostly just kind of exciting and a little scary and you know, standard things about a guy trying to save his family and having to make them having to make sacrifices so that he could go save the world. And I guess the one thing about it was that once they were out of danger, there really wasn't a lot of peril for them, for his wife and his daughters. So it was interesting to me that there wasn't any kind of a reversal where suddenly zombies were, you know, figuring out how to get on aircraft carriers or whatever. But I liked the you know, quest aspect of it, where first they have to go to Korea and then they have to go to Israel, and the part in Israel was kind of cool and interesting. And you know, then going to Wales to the WHO facility, and some of that was a little unbelievable, like that they'd been holed up in one section of it like for however long, and the other section was full of zombies, and somehow they weren't really having any trouble with all the zombies on the other end of the building. So, and the thing about zombies being able to sort of detect illness in their host and avoiding those people, that was a little over the top to me, because I'm thinking, well, once a zombie bites somebody and they turn into a zombie, who cares what kind of a host they are? They're kind of undead. But the whole idea of that whole like part of the plot was a little bit, it was a little out there. Like, it just seemed a little implausible. Like, so these zombies all have, you know, they're zombies. They were really fast for zombies too. I noticed these zombies were, at least it wasn't like the last zombie movie we watched where zombies are super slow and kind of dull, but they somehow catch up to you anyway. And these zombies, you know, if they caught up to you, it's because they were just fast and kind of intense. So, you know, kind of a different brand of zombies, I guess, but still scary. Zombies to me are just scary, and it's like freaky that after like 12 seconds after they bite you, you are one. So that's very weird. But this was just crazy and fun, and it didn't have to be very believable. And the ending little sequence where he has to get the pathogens and you know, infect himself. They didn't really do much explaining as to how they fashioned a vaccine out of pathogens in such a way that the pathogens don't end up killing everybody. But hey, it's the WHO. They apparently do all kinds of things that are like magic to us, and you know, they're keeping all their creepy technology to themselves, I guess, unless you have to use it to stop a zombie apocalypse. So anyway, action, crazy. The whole scene with zombies on a plane was...
Good evening. No, the time is 8:11:02. Time out.
And then carnage, and there weren't too many characters that, you know, you got attached to that just ended up being killed by zombies. You know, the good guys came through in the end, and all the people we wanted to survive basically survived. And so yeah, it would be, I'm guessing there's a sequel or two to this. I haven't checked because I've never been a big zombie fan, but yeah, I thought the plot was okay. It was easy to follow, and it moved along, and it had a satisfying ending, and I kind of liked it. NV5S.
good. We got one thumbs up so far. Thank you, Virginia. Next up is Bill, N5BB. Bill, what did you think about the plot to our movie World War Z from KE5ICX?
This is N5BB. Thank you, Tom. Well, there weren't so many stupid ads, I would have finished this movie a long time ago. But the ads are so long, I leave and go do something else, and I come back, and then I have to backtrack and try to figure out where I was. Anyway, right now I'm near the end where they're in the lab and trying to get the stuff out. They're in the they're trying to get away from the zombies that are in Wing B or whatever. So, another zombie movie. So that's one thing that I find against this. It's like, how many zombie movies do you really need? And they actually call them undead or zombies. And they have, as Virginia said, they have many of the characteristics of other zombie movies, but these ones have truly superhuman strength and speed, more so than most other zombie movies, where the zombies are like they have parts that fall off or something. Not these zombies. The most unbelievable and scariest part, really, of the whole thing is the zombies climbing on top of each other like ants and getting up over the wall that Israel has built. I don't believe the human bodies can do that, no matter how they were driven. I don't really think that you could pile that many human bodies up there and they would stay there like that. So I find that completely unbelievable. But great visual effect, though. Makes it very scary, too, when the zombies get over the impenetrable wall. The other thing, of course, other things in it are unbelievable. Well, the whole movie's unbelievable. But them using the grenade to blow off the back side of the airplane. And then only the two people that we care about survive. Oh, come on. I don't understand that. And, of course, the hero really should have died multiple times from all these injuries he's gotten, like parts of the airplane through his body, and et cetera, et cetera. And the woman, I don't really know how she had survived having her hand chopped off like that. So I don't know. It is a rather spectacular feature, which is, Brad Pitt does a pretty good job. And, he's got his family he's trying to get to survive, and that's par for the course in these disaster movies. Does the hero's family survive? And of course, they have to kill off some people, like the person that's trying to develop the vaccine.
No, 4, 8, 9.
Anyway, in general, I guess it's okay because it's too unpleasant. Okay. And I'm just tired of unpleasant movies. I'm tired of all the violence. I'm tired of all the airplane crashing. I'm tired of people racing through the streets, crashing through other people, knocking things off. I'm just tired of all this violence in movies. N5BB.
Okay, thank you, Bill. You sound unhappy. Well, I tell you what, you want a slow-moving movie? We could do My Dinner with Andre. Go look it up. You want something that will put you to sleep? That's the movie. Okay. Next up, we got a couple of Echolink people for sure. That would be Brenda, and I know Jay is on Echolink. You two are up. At least Brenda's next. One thing I want to tell you is, and I've discovered this from the previous net, is we do have an issue with the radio that is on Echolink. The Echolink's working fine. It's the radio that's set for a timeout. So either it's getting warm and it's dropping key, or there's a timeout. So I'm going to recommend that as you speak, Echolink people only, you should drop carrier for a couple of seconds every once in a while and then come back up. Otherwise, you'll be talking but not transmitting because the radio just gave up. I can hear the timer timeout on the radio itself, that warble that some radios do. So I'll talk to Tony about it and mention it to him so we can get that fixed. Okay, so with that said about Echolink, next up is Brenda, WB50ZL. Brenda, what did you think about the plot for tonight's movie, World War Z?
WB50ZL. Okay, I'll talk fast. I liked this movie. I didn't think I would. I don't normally like zombie movies, but I actually was quite engaged with this. It had a lot of good talent. Brad Pitt, of course, is a wonderful actor, and I love Capaldi, the 12th Doctor. He's one of my favorite doctors. But plot-wise, these things never hold together totally. They can't. It's like time travel movies always have plots, holes, and such. But I thought it moved well, and if you're going to make a movie about imaginary creatures, you can't take it too seriously. So, the plot holes were not that bad. So I'm giving it a thumbs up, and I'm going to turn it over. WB50ZL.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. And just a reminder, when you do transmit, you were fine on that. That was plenty of time. I think it's like 2 or 3 minutes before it does its little gyration. So I think you got enough time. You'll just have to drop carrier from time to time. So that's it there. Okay, next up is KE5LZE. That would be Randy. Randy, I don't know if you saw the film or not, but if you didn't, what do you think about zombie films in general from KE5ICX?
Kilo finally about Zularetto. I've never seen it before. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. I've never seen it before, so I need to get there and watch it and see what's going on there. To yourself, KE5LZE.
Okay, fine and dandy. I may come back to you and ask you if you would want to see this movie after everybody gives their opinion. That's one of the things we do with folks that haven't seen the film, is after you hear our wonderful comments about them, we say, do you want to see that film or not? Most of the time it's a not, but you never know. We've had some thumbs up. So far this one's gotten pretty good reviews. All right, next up is Jay, KE5BZW. Jay, you saw the film. What'd you think about the plot?
Right, this is KG5BZW. Okay, I'll go ahead and share the good parts first. I mean, the thing about the plot, if you want to call part, a lot of the action of the plot, is that it did flow very well, and there was hardly any time for me to get bored or anything. There are certainly times where I think, well, that's dumb. There's just several things But action-wise, yeah, I mean, the action's over the top with it. But it's slow, though. That's why I could not. There was not enough for me to get overly irritated at whatever. It just kept on going, and I can at least appreciate that. Now to talk about the stuff I do like, I'll read that. Okay, well, I mean, clearly there are just certain things that they added to the plot, and I remember when this movie originally came out that there was a lot more, engagement on the political, the geopolitical spectrum, and this, and the book, whereas this is, really more action than it all. I I am kind of curious of the book because of this film, but well, let me one more time. Okay, so I mean, you had the cell phone. Excuse me, it's not a cell phone. It's a satellite phone. Do they not? I seriously doubt that they don't have a sound function. Or at least turn the damn thing off when you know it's not. It was just that bit was just strange and just really dumb. But let's see. I got better. I turn my phone off or do whatever when I need to do something. So, and this guy who was, this expert didn't do that, and then there's these in Jerusalem where I just found it hard to believe that Okay, I don't know if the radio just, if I just reset the radio there, but I noticed that it cut off. Let's see. Okay, I'll try to finish what I'm saying. I just found it hard to believe that the celebration is there. Just as our main character arrived was just enough to cause the breach. And also, why weren't they monitoring the outside anyway a little bit better than that? No cameras or anything. It just seemed, okay, well, we're going at this again, yay. Like I said, it did flow, but and then the third thing was, I have mentioned the injuries. I really don't think Brad Pitt engaging in that bait tactic when he had just suffered that impalement. You kind of need those back and front muscles for running. I don't think he's going to be running. I admittedly, I wouldn't know exactly what exactly would be effective, but I mean, I know I've got issues with my back, and I've never been impaled, and I don't think I'd be running when I have suffered those issues. So anyway, whatever. Let me sorry. Let me see. I don't think anything else. So I mean, it was kind of fun, but it was really dumb. KG5ACW.
Okie doke. Thank you, Jay. Well, we're at the bottom of the list. I have my comments, but I'll go ahead and open it up to anyone else that'd like to join us. Please come with your call sign, your name. And did you see tonight's movie? We're talking about World War Z from 2013. Even if you didn't see the film, that's okay. Just come on in. We'll check you in. Please come now.
Hello, Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean Fort Worth. Yes, I did see this movie.
One of the missing persons, KB5SOK, Shaun of the Dead. What did you think of the plot for our fine film this evening?
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, of course, it wasn't as good as Shaun of the Dead, but, you know, hey. No, I'll say it was much better than I expected. I hadn't seen this movie. About that time, to be honest, I was kind of a little bit, like Bill, a little burned out on zombie movies. And skipped this one when it came out, and so I wasn't sure what to expect. And I was pleasantly surprised. Like I said, it's not my favorite, but it actually was decent. I do like that there was some different elements. I did like that the zombies were, fast. So I thought that was kind of a, difference from what we typically see, and it's already been talked about. But I thought that was pretty cool. And I do like that they did try to find a different kind of ending. Yeah, they didn't really find a cure, obviously, but they found a temporary patch so they could try to at least keep everybody alive longer until they figured out how to deal with the zombies. So that I did like. It was nice there was that twist. But yeah, it was definitely, for the most part, very predictable. It was a cross between a classic zombie movie and your typical, apocalyptic, it's going to be just action, from the word go. And it was good because as long as this movie was, it needed that, for sure, because otherwise it probably would have seemed pretty long if they didn't. I still think it was a hair longer than it needed to be, but it wasn't bad because it's fast-paced. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some plot holes because it's fantasy. It's a zombie movie. So, this is really meant just to be enjoyed as an action, fun movie, not something for deep thought or any of that. But yeah, I got a kick out of seeing the doctor in it too. So that was kind of funny. Yeah, the one plot hole I did think was strange. They made such a huge deal out of the whole, you got to be quiet, they're attracted to noise. And then on the plane, the zombie sits in a closet for who knows how many hours, because they were supposedly within just a few miles of where they were going to land. And then all at once, then he decides to be, the noise was loud enough that it came out. So, yeah, I think they could have done a better job of that part. And then, yeah, I think the grenade thing would have took the plane instantly out of the air. And then, yeah, Brad Pitt, obviously, with the pieces of steel all the way through his body. 3 days later, being able to get up and run like it never happened. Yeah, that was extreme. But then again, we see that all the time in these hero movies where somebody gets seriously injured. At least in this one, he actually got taken care of by real doctors and didn't just try to sew it up himself. Then he was totally fine. So, yeah, I won't drag this out. So, but all in all, I thought it was an okay movie. And not too bad. So, anyway, back to that. KB9SOK.
I think the zombies are trying to send us Morse code. Very bad Morse code, too. Oh, well. I know who did that. I will mention it later to that individual. It's okay. Probably fell asleep. Okay, let's see. My thoughts on the film. First off, yeah, it was interesting. I'm not a zombie fan either. I mean, I'm not into the horror stuff as much as other people. Well, really not at all. But I have to say it was a very action-packed movie. It moved from beginning to end. I saw most of it. I did have to go to bed last night, so I couldn't quite finish it off. But I did get insider information on how it ended, and it sounded about right. I thought the plot was good. Certainly, J. Michael Straczynski, or Joe Straczynski, as he's known amongst his fans. I am definitely one of those people. Always like his stories and how he writes them, and his screenplay did not disappoint. I think he did a good job with it. He mentioned in here that he was approached to do it, and he said, if I can find the direct quote, hang on just a second, I think you'll find this interesting, because the book itself, Brooks' book, was very clinical in its approach, but it was a bestseller. I may not be able to find it. I'll find the quote for later. I had it here and I lost track when I was looking for something else. At any rate, he said that it read like a report from the World Health Organization rather than as a screenplay, as a interesting book. He had to come up with characters, so he's the one that came up with the characters and made the thing work better. It was, I think he mentioned something about Bourne Identity was kind of the what he was using as the cast or structure for this particular movie. So it moved along. It was okay. Lots of tropes, though. We've seen these all before. The annoying kids. The only thing missing was the dog. A dog that would run off into the zombies and the little girl would follow. We didn't have that, thankfully, but we came close. I think, too, that the way it was handled from a structural standpoint was okay. I guess in a way its impact is diminished a little bit because we did go through COVID, a couple of years ago, so we kind of lived through this. I did not see this movie when it came out. I saw it for the first time last night. So being war-weary from that and from zombie films in general, I'm kind of with the rest of the group. It was okay, but it didn't feel new or different in any way. It felt like rehashings of things I've been through in real life, not the zombie part, but you and I and the rest of the world getting through COVID, and having to live through the zombie world of a zillion movies and television shows that came out. So we were kind of weary of that. The fact that they moved quickly was kind of a nice change. How they behaved as a group and collectively was interesting, and that may be a slightly different take than what we've seen in the past. So that helped. Would I watch it again? I don't know if I would or not. It was okay. I've not seen any sequels. I could be wrong. Maybe there are sequels to this thing, but I don't think it needs one. Anyway, we had a lot more we could do with Planet of the Apes, which has a similar plot in the reboot series as far as how things played out. But I don't know. At any rate, those are my thoughts on that. I'll save for my stereotypical characters that are coming up next on the next part of this. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next section, which is characterization and acting. So, Virginia, you're first, NV5F. What did you think about those two things from KE5ICX?
Okay, thank you, Tom. Well, so first, on the whole zombie plot, or the whole zombie subject, it's interesting to me that zombies turn up, and I've seen some old cheesy zombie movies, like maybe seen one from the 80s a while back that was just super dumb. But it's funny because the two zombie movies we've watched in this group, we all seem to like them in general. The other one we watched was last year, and it was what was it, Night of the Living Dead from the 60s, 68, I think. And in that one, the zombie threat was some kind of plague that came from outer space. I remember they talked about NASA and all that. And I remember how much we liked that one a lot more than we thought we would. Then we have this one, and then I did see Shaun of the Dead last year at Christmas time when I was in the UK, and my friend Ryan really likes that guy's work. I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who did Shaun of the Dead, he really likes his stuff, so we watched that, and that was hilarious. I really enjoyed that one too. So it's funny, in the last year and some change, I've seen 3 zombie movies, and I've actually enjoyed all 3 of them. This is the kind of movie I might watch again if I was watching it with a group of people that, you know, we just wanted to watch something really stupid and crazy. I would watch it again with some other people. But characters, and the whole COVID references, this movie was referenced constantly on social media during COVID. And it was funny when I was watching all the stuff at the beginning of it, all the news stories and stuff. And they mentioned the WHO, and they mentioned like an outbreak of rabies, and I guess that's what they originally thought the zombie virus was. That was people were getting rabies. And you know, that kind of was like, it's like a flashback to COVID, but it actually predated COVID by several years. So I thought that was kind of interesting, because it's like Outbreak meets, you know, Night of the Living Dead meets, you know, Independence Day or something. So anyway, acting was fine. Brad Pitt's great. You know, he's usually pretty good, and the characters were pretty stereotypical. And you know, nothing amazing or to write home about. All the acting was fine, and characters were fine. But as far as his wife and his kids, you know, they basically lucked out in this movie. I would actually think that those characters that there would be that they would try to inject a little bit more excitement in their end of the story, but it was mostly just her trying to get him on the phone and him trying to call her, and then them getting removed from the aircraft carrier when they thought he was dead, and that whole plot about the, you know, I don't know. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about the acting and stuff. It was just pretty standard stuff. The zombies were pretty good at being zombies. I mean, that's probably pretty tough, really. The hardest thing was probably being zombies and being kind of believable, if you can use that word about this. And they were fast. Have much of a purpose when they weren't trying to, you know, get people. So, you know, I don't know, I guess that's how zombies kind of are. They're just not really, you know, their lives are kind of boring until they have someone to kill, so, or turn into other zombies. Are you dead? Are you not dead? I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, overall pretty good on everything, just pretty standard stuff, and nothing was really, you know, too annoying. And I guess I'll say one plot thing I forgot to mention, that they thought if they left the RV that they were in out there, like, unlocked, that it was going to be out there when they came back after getting their, you know, raiding the grocery store. I always thought that, you know, I thought that was kind of weird. Not very believable, but anyway, overall fine. It was fine. NV5F.
Thank you, Virginia. And remember, don't forget, your main characters have to do stupid things and turn into zombies. without being zombies. Next up, Bill, N5BB. Bill, your thoughts, characterization, acting. You know the drill. Go ahead, from KE5ICX.
Yes, sir. This is N5BB. Well, speaking of them with that camper, you notice somebody left it, leaving the keys in it. So that can't happen the same way now if you have your keys in your pocket, because nearly all new vehicles have got the key fobs that are proximity, so you don't have a physical key put into the thing. So it's like a touch tone or a rotary telephone on the desk or something. It's kind of an anachronism nearly, but it was okay for this movie because it was made a few years ago. And let's see. Who decided what zombies? Number one, who does that? Why are they is everybody calling them zombies because they saw an earlier zombie movie? I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. You know, if zombies are fictional things in movies, I don't know. They called them undead zombies, and the Israeli Mossad guy kind of said, well, they must be zombies. They're undead. I don't know. You notice, just like in other movies, these zombies all have bad skin. Their skin all kind of gets tough and wrinkly. They have bad teeth for some weird reason. They make this, they can't quite get the words out noise, and they move their faces in these very weird face things, like Edward Munch, the famous painting with the guy with that crazy face. So I don't know. I don't understand why zombies are so immediately trying to go and choose somebody. The thing that's, one of the many things that's unbelievable, how can the zombies figure out that you have some infection in your bloodstream? How can they figure that out? Doesn't make any sense at all to me. And they don't figure it out. They don't have to, get up next to you and lick you or something. Coming down the hallway, they just totally ignored him. That makes no sense. He didn't have a red flashing light saying, I'm sick. So, yeah. It's just a movie. And since we're near the end, I'll just say the characterizations were, I guess, okay. Main characters were fine. We didn't, the Israeli woman soldier, we didn't hear much about her backstory or anything. Or for that matter, other people's backstories. I didn't really care. It's an action zombie movie. I guess nobody cares about where people came from and anything like that. So we don't hear anything about these different people.
Node 4, 8, 0, 2.
Anyway, again, very little on character development, mostly action, zombies trying to chew on people. Special effects were fine. I guess that's all I got. N5BB. Good night.
Okay, well, thank you, Bill. I'll try and call on you for the third round. I think we'll have time, but okay. Next up would be Brenda, WB50ZL. Brenda, your thoughts on characterization and acting from KE5ICX.
KG5OZL. Yeah, I don't know why those zombies couldn't act like real zombies. They should be eating brains or something, shouldn't they? Yeah, I've never quite understood their motivation that they have to run over and fight some other human. I was like, they should at least be eating them. I don't know what they ate otherwise. They were a little odd for zombies, what you expected. They were really fast, and, you know, they, I guess to avoid buying rubber masks and all, they had them make faces so they would act weird and make funny noises. Saved a lot on special effects that way. Brad Pitt was cool. He's a great actor. He's handsome. The three women in his life were unbelievably annoying and almost irrelevant. The little girls just did nothing but whine and cry, and the wife pretty much the same. You know, call me, call me, call me, call me. And not wanting him to go off and save the world, and them along with it. Capaldi was great. Peter Capaldi was wonderful, as always. He's a fabulous actor. The others, you know, they're okay. One thing I'd say, you know, I always talk about how in so many movies I can't tell them apart. Well, I had no trouble this time telling all the characters apart, so that's a plus. And, that, you know, for the most part, the actors were fairly believable and did a good job. Gonna turn it back, WB50ZL.
All right, very good. Thank you, Brenda. Next up is Randy, KE5LZE. Randy, I know you didn't see the film. Not going to ask you about it, but if you're still out there, you may have left. I don't know. But if you're there, is this a film you would want to see after our comments from KE5ICX? All right, I suspect that you might have left. Okay, Jay, KG5BZWJ, your comments on plot and characterization from KE5ICX.
All right, this is KG5BZW. You know, the zombies, they just want to have friends. You know, the only way they know how to make friends is just bite non-zombies so they can have more of them. So we can have this group mob of zombies and everybody's happy and whatever in zombie form. Okay, I'll get it outside. Oh, man. No, I mean, the actors did a fine job. Like, I'm trying to figure out what I can actually say that hasn't already been said here. Then there really isn't much that comes to mind. I mean, if I was a little bit more educated on the lore of zombies, I could dive into certain things about, and also analogies to humans being like, you know, in the very old times being persistent hunters, and so in odd sense, zombies are a little bit more human than, you know, I don't want to call them more human than human. That's a Rob Zombie reference, although that is a zombie reference, just not in the right way. I'm being a goofball tonight. Then, I don't know. I don't have anything else. KG5BCW.
That's okay, Jay. No problem. Okay, next up is Sean, KB5SOK. Sean, your thoughts on characterization and acting?
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Not a lot to add here. I think everybody covered the characters were pretty stereotypical. Obviously we didn't get in deep with him because it was just an action movie. I guess we got to know the Brad Pitt character a little bit, just about his past, and he wanted to put that behind him and focus on family. That's really about the only person we really got to know. I thought his acting was okay on this. Once again, it's just an action movie, so there wasn't a lot of depth there. So all in all, I thought it was pretty proficient. One of the little plot twists, I think somebody actually kind of brought it up, was, once they did come up with this vaccine with the governments in shambles everywhere, how did they mass produce it and get it out to everybody so quickly? That seemed, a little unrealistic, but other than that, and thanks Virginia for bringing up the RV camper. I forgot to bring that up too. Really, you're gonna leave your keys in it? Anyway, I guess it would have. The movie would have progressed like it would have without that. So, as always, I thought all in all it was okay. So, looking forward to the next one. Back to net, KB9SOK.
The World War Z from 2013. If you have not checked in, he'd like to come now.
Whiskey 5. Bacon, lettuce, tomato. Yes, I saw the movie.
I wondered where you might be, Mr. Bill. W5BLT, welcome. You're tardy. I'm putting you down as tardy, which means you're going to have to tell me what you think about plot and characterization, both. So give it your best shot. What do you think about our fine film this evening from KE5ICX?
Okay, and I'm sorry for the late check-in. It's interesting because this was in descriptive video. Pluto actually had the video description for those who were visually impaired. And so I thought I was really going to like it, and I know I'm kind of probably the odd one out on this net. It was okay. It was very action-oriented, but not a lot of science fiction. And of course, we've seen zombie movies before. It was very action-oriented, though, and at the very end, probably after, I think it was an hour and a half or so, the last half hour of the descriptive video dropped out, so I was kind of disappointed about that. So there were some differences in the plot. I think you guys have covered this. They did move very fast, and it was interesting to go back and look at this after COVID. I remember it being talked about in 2013, but I'm not a very big zombie movie fan, so it didn't really pique my interest. There were parts of it I probably liked with the action and things like that. It was very action-oriented, and I would have been totally lost without descriptive video, to be honest. And at the very end of the movie, the last half hour was a little hard to follow because I didn't find a lot of dialogue until the end of the movie. I thought the characters were good, but there just wasn't a lot of character development. So I'll be honest, I really didn't care what happened with the characters. But it was nice to have it in descriptive video for that first hour and a half. And then I was kind of lost on the last part of it when they were developing the vaccine and how that all got implemented. So that's all I got right now. W5BLT, back to you, Tom.
Okay, thank you, Bill. And this is KE5ICX. Well, what do I have to say about characterization? Well, there wasn't a ton of it. I mean, we had, about a dozen characters here, and we just read through all of these characters. Brad Pitt's Jerry Lane was about the only character we got to really even know, and I didn't think we knew much about him. The family, quite honestly, was annoying. They were busy screaming every time something happened. I've seen that a bazillion million times, so I don't know. It's like, here we go again. The other actors were pretty much stereotyped into position. Brenda mentioned Peter Capaldi, knowing his previous acting and things that he's done, and the fact that he did go on to do Doctor Who, even though he was a doctor for Who in this movie, he was Doctor Who in the TV series. He turned in a pretty good performance. Everyone else pretty much was stereotyped into the roles that you would expect if you recognized them. So I don't know. I didn't feel any particular empathy or worry about the characters, which to me probably is simply because it was so action-packed that we just kind of drained out any possible characterization in the film. That kind of sucks, I think, but I don't know. What can you do? Now, I guess that's all I'll say about that. I think everyone else pretty much covered the comments that follow along. All right, this is what I'll do. We have 10 minutes. We're right kind of... Let me do this. Let me go ahead and I'll ask if you have any final closing comments. That should close it out for everybody. It's kind of in that netherworld where I can do a whole round, but I don't know if it would matter or not, or I can just skip it and let people decide if they want to talk. And while I've been talking, somebody could have been talking. So let me do this. If you got something else you want to add, you want to talk about special effects, music, anything like that, please come with your call, and I'll take you in the order that I get you. So please come now.
V5S.
Wow, I was thinking I'd get a few more people, but that's fine. Virginia, you may have the last word. NV5F, go ahead.
Oh, wow, no pressure. Well, I get the main thing is, I was just thinking about the music. I don't remember the music, so it was unobtrusive. It wasn't annoying because I don't remember it, but it also wasn't very memorable, so I guess it was standard action movie music. Yeah, other than that, special effects, the zombies were gross and scary, and I'm with Brenda. It would have been interesting if they'd been more like your standard zombies where they, want to eat people's brains, because that's kind of a standard zombie thing. Like, they don't just want to bite you and turn you into zombies. They are usually looking for, that was the big thing in the last zombie movie we watched. They wanted to, eat people's brains. So that would have, I guess it would have made it more perilous and probably more gross and horrific, and so I might have been more nauseated by it if that had been the case. But it was just so over the top, and I'm not sure how the zombie did manage to stay in the closet in the airplane for all those hours without the dog finding him. And there was an annoying dog. I thought of you when I saw that dog. I was like, oh, there's the dog. And unfortunately, I could not find a way to connect this movie to 2001, but I will say that I'll remind everyone that this month is the 40th anniversary of the release of 2010, the year you make contact, and so I'm celebrating the 40th anniversary of 2010 this whole month, and there's actually a book about 2010. It's probably the only one that's been written, and it was written by a guy, I think his name is John Huckert, and he was an intern on the filming of 2010 back in 1984, and he, after 40 years, has published a journal of his experience on the set, and I think he actually had to write a report for his internship. It's in there, and then he just has some general stuff about himself and his time in Hollywood, and there's a lot of pictures of stuff from 2010 I've never seen, and the book is called All These Worlds Are Yours, and it's kind of a pricey book, but I think it's kind of a boutique, self-published, a small company published it, and so I bought it for myself for Christmas, and I plan to start reading it tomorrow, and I'm real excited. So that's it for me, NV5F.
Oh man, I would very much like to get a book report from you as to what you thought about it. So during one of our little sessions here, let us know what you thought of the book. I love those things. I find also online, especially on YouTube now that I'm retired, all of these making of videos that are done by both people in the biz and outside of the biz that collect information on them. Always enters Monsters. There's one called Monsters Music something. Any rate, they go into whatever happened to, talking about various motion pictures and the stuff that was in them and all of that. And I think there is a 2010 kind of documentary available. I don't know if it's any good or not, but I'd be very interested in hearing what you have to say about it after you get into it a little bit. All right, well, we're at the end of the net pretty much. Does anyone else have any comments they want to bring or any late check-ins? Please come now. Okay, hearing none, I guess we've exhausted everybody. Next week is the week before, or the week of Christmas. I did not have anything super special planned for Christmas outside of the holiday classic, Planets Against Us from 1962. If you've got a suggestion, go ahead and send it to me or tell me after the net here of something you'd like to see, and if I can find it, we can see it for free, then we'll do it. Otherwise, next week's movie will be Planets Against Us from 1962. No, I do not know anything about it. We've probably seen it before, but I don't remember. There's a guy and a girl underneath an overpass, and she seems shocked by something that he said in the still for the movie. It's over on Pluto TV, so lots of ads. Oh boy. Okay, that's it from me, from you, and from everyone else. We finished a few minutes early. I want to thank everybody for their participation this evening, and thank you for all of your comments. That was fun and energetic. If you're doing the Dallas Marathon tomorrow, best of luck to all of you in getting up. Probably shouldn't even go to bed. I suspect everybody here is not going to be there. Wish I were there, but no, that's not going to happen. I'm going to go I'm actually going to do a half marathon myself. I'm going to run one here in Corpus called the Black Eyed Pea half marathon. They're doing a full marathon, but I had too many injuries this year to do that, so I'm going to do the half. But at any rate, however it works, everyone, 7-3, it's great fun, and we'll see you here next week. This is KE5ICX, clear.
Hey Tom, KE5ICX and 5BB. I wonder if the movie Brazil, if you remember that crazy fantasy movie, if that movie is available. That's a Christmas movie in 5BB.
You know, Bill, that's a favorite movie of mine. We've reviewed it before. I'd love to do it again. I'll go look and see if it's available. That is a good film. We get a lot of good discussion on it. If you guys want to do that, that's fine by me. We can certainly look into it.
Well, it's definitely over the top, and I think it'd be interesting and kind of, I think it's a fun movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but, and if we reviewed it here, it's been a long time ago, I think. So we might consider Brazil if it's available. Okay, see you later. KE5ICX and 5BB. Good night.
Oh, who's that guy who did Brazil? I can't stand his stuff. It's supposed to be fun, and it's just obnoxious. I can't remember his name right now in V5F.
I think his name is Terry Nation. Does that sound right? Any rate, I kind of like his, or Terry Gilliam. Terry Gilliam is who it is. Where do I get Nation from? There's somebody that's closely related to him with the name Nation or something. Anyway, it's Terry Gilliam. I'm looking here. I don't see it available for free. I'll continue to look. I will be the first to admit Terry Gilliam is not everyone's cup of tea. He really is not. I kind of like him. He's somewhat repetitious, but he's quirky with his repetition. So I don't know. To each his own on that one. I won't fault you for it because not everybody likes his stuff, and they have good reasons not to like it. Okay, well, I'll do some investigation. I'll let you know, but I'll probably send out whatever the movie is for sure probably tomorrow morning sometime. 7-3, everybody. Have a good evening. This is KE5ICX. Clear.
Good morning.
Along that same vein, how about the Baron Munchausen movie? I'm trying to remember the exact name of it. Is it just Adventures of Baron Munchausen? I think you know which one. That one's also over the top. I like that one too. And Virginia may hate it also. Or Kelly Gilly. Okay, see you later in 5BB. Thank you.
I absolutely hate that movie. I can't stand it. Robin Williams was in it, and he was not funny, and Baron Munchausen is not a character that I appreciated at all. And, I hate that movie. Please don't make us watch it in V5F.
And in case you hadn't guessed, it's directed by Terry Gilliam. Oh boy. All right, I'm out of here. KE5ICX.